Hey everybody, I am hoping that you are having a wonderful day. I haven't done a Facebook Live in quite a while, and today I felt inspired this morning during my meditation to do one. So here I am, and today I'm going to be talking about the upside of anger. Does anger have an upside? But before I start talking about anger specifically, I want to just talk a little bit in general about emotions and how it's very common for many of us to feel comfortable with certain emotions, and then other emotions, it feels really easy to kind of push them away, push them down, kind of hide them in the closet, whatever your MO is with those emotions. It's common to have certain emotions that it's like, okay, I'm good with that emotion, and this emotion, not so much. And the problem with that is when we don't allow ourselves to feel all emotions, whatever emotions might not feel so comfortable or safe, we're not allowing ourselves the full human experience, first of all. And also, when we push those emotions usually down, we suppress them, they get stuck in our bodies. And that is often what causes pain and other symptoms that just kind of seems to come out of nowhere. So if you've ever had just a pain that one day you wake up and you didn't do anything, you didn't hurt yourself, you can't figure it out, usually it's actually kind of an emotional signal that there's something stuck and trapped in your body. And that is your body's way of like holding on to it for later, for you to come back and process it, right? And the body says, oh, I'll just store this for you for later. Unfortunately, for most of us, we don't come back to that emotion. We don't loop back around and say, oh yeah, I never felt that particular emotion, that anger from 5 days ago. I never felt that sadness from, 2 weeks ago. Oh, it's time to come back. Let me put that on my calendar and get back around to it. Hey, Amira, thanks for joining. So it just gets stuck there for many of us for a long, long time, for months, years, and then sometimes it makes its presence known with pain and other symptoms. And so today I really want to talk about the emotion of anger because it feels like it's a big one for a lot of people, a lot of women especially. It feels like that emotion in particular is a really challenging for many of us to feel. I know I can definitely relate to anger not being a comfortable emotion. I can feel good in my own life and comfortable with like feeling sadness. Grief is kind of somewhat comfortable. Worry, anxiety, yes, I know that one really well. Anger has never felt super safe for me, and I know that's not I'm not alone in that experience. If you can relate to that, give me a thumbs up, drop an emoji. It feels like it's a big emotion for many of us and a scary emotion for many of us. And so, especially for women, it doesn't feel safe, and we push it down and we push it away. Well, something shifted for me when I started learning a little bit more about Chinese medicine and Chinese philosophy on emotions a couple of years ago. And when I came to understand that each and every emotion actually has, a healthy expression and then an imbalanced expression. And once I came to understand the healthy expression of anger, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get it now. Anger in itself is not a bad thing because I was viewing it as a negative because I'd always tended to experience it in myself and in others as that kind of anger explosion. The anger volcano sometimes is what it feels like, right? And that's the imbalanced version because many of us has pushed it down. And of course, when we push it down, and it needs to come up, it needs to come out, so we get the explosion. And boom, anger all over the people closest to you, anger explodes. Hey, Jeanette, yes, you can relate, right? Each emotion has a healthy, balanced expression. So anger in its healthy expression is actually just about movement, according to Chinese philosophy. It's supposed to just move us into action. It's like a little kind of alert bell that comes on and says, hey, something not quite right here, whether that's someone crossing your boundaries, whether that's you're not in a situation that feels really aligned for you. Whatever that is just kind of like a little light that comes on and says, hey, something's not quite right here. You need to make a change. It's only when we get, though, into that really suppressed, pushed down, imbalanced version that we get the explosive anger, and that is anger in its imbalanced expression. So I would encourage you, if you're not comfortable with anger, to take that reframe and start thinking about anger is okay. Anger in itself is not bad. Of course, we don't want the anger volcano. Nobody wants to be exploding on people and letting anger kind of come out and hurt anybody in their lives. So how do you learn to work with it, right? You need to acknowledge it as it's coming up rather than pushing it down, and letting it come out. And I totally know times in my life where I've just I pushed it down, like something irritates us. And it's like, I'm going to just push it down. I'll deal with it later. It's not comfortable to say something to whoever is irritating me. And then later, it's the explosion. So allowing yourself to speak up and just say, hey, when you did that, it didn't feel so good to me. Could we try and not have that happen again? Might be a great way to just use that anger movement energy. And Jeanette saying anger needs to move one way or another. Heck yes, right? So it will move either through just that kind of gentle expression of it, like, hey, hold up, you crossed my boundaries, that wasn't cool. Or if it's suppressed for a really long time, yes, we get the explosion. One of the things I find really fascinating too is how many women will wind up with gallstones or gallbladder issues. So in Chinese medicine, the gallbladder is actually associated with the emotion of anger. So when I think about how many women aren't comfortable with the emotion of anger and they suppress anger, and then often that's where it's going to get stored, right? Because the body often stores it in a place that has a connection, a consciousness connection, and that the consciousness of the gallbladder, one of the consciousness functions of the gallbladder is anger. So it's like a clue. It's going to land in the gallbladder and hang out there and stay there. Not so fun. And I'm going to kind of go through all of the different emotions. I'm going to do a little series here, but men often have kidney stones. Kidneys are about fear. So we have this kind of like these two sides of who is comfortable with what. Many men are more comfortable with anger, less comfortable with fear. Women often are more comfortable with fear, anger, not so much. And then the gallstones appear in the body. So you don't want to wind up with those sort of issues. You don't want to wind up with gallstones, gallbladder issues, explosive anger, all of the things. So in this message today, I hope what you take away really is that all emotions are okay. All emotions are meant to be felt and allowed and acknowledged. And it's only when they're imbalanced or when they become suppressed and denied and pushed down for usually a long time, that is when we start to develop the problems. So if anger is not comfortable, start learning how to allow it to be something that you can become more comfortable with. Don't let it get to that point where it's an anger explosion. Instead, acknowledge it and make friends with it and realize it's just a sign to you that something needs to change in your life or something needs to be said to someone. Whatever it is, it's just a messenger, and allow the message to come out. So thank you for taking the time to watch. Thank you, Jeanette, for your comments while I'm live. And anybody watching the replay, feel free to share your ahas, your comments, and I will be commenting back later in the day. So I hope to see some other comments, and I hope this message was helpful to you. This is an ongoing piece for me because anger is still a little bit less comfortable than some emotions. So if you feel that way about anger, you are totally not alone. It's very common, especially, as I mentioned, for women not to feel comfortable with anger. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and feel free to share this video if you feel like someone in your life could benefit from it. All right, bye for now.